Okay, now a little bit about order of operations. I like to think of these as like rules of the road. Man, we all want to drive a car, right? And I know as soon as you approach the age of 16, man, that's a big thing. But what happens if there's no rules? Man, if people are driving wherever, you have chaos and you have wrecks and you will never get where you're supposed to go. So rules of the road are kind of like the mathematic operation part. Well, the first thing I talk about is ambulances, all right? If you got an ambulance, everybody stops for ambulances to let them go through because they carry human lives, the most important thing. Well, I guess what the most important thing in the mathematic operation is parentheses, all right? So as a sample here, notice if I have 4 plus 2, just 3 times it in parentheses, I would do the 4 plus 2 first, which 4 plus 2 is 6, and 3 times 6 is 18, okay? Now, the next thing I roll the road is what I call my fire truck, because people are going to let fire trucks through too. And that's what I call my exponents. You do exponents first. So in this particular problem, if you have 3 times 4 squared, you do the 4 squared first. And 4 squared means like 4 times 4. That's why you see this 3 times 16, because I do 4 squared first. And 3 times 16 would be 48. Now I want to point out, if I did 3 times 4 first, you would get 12. And 12 squared would be 144, which is not the answer, and we'd like have a wreck and go off the road. It does not make the answer the way that it should be. The next thing is what I call the stoplight. And the reason I have a stoplight is, do you stop at a stoplight or do you go? And the answer is depends on whether it's red or whether it's green. And the same thing is true over here. It's multiply or divide, depending on which one is written first as we read from left to right. So as an example, right here I have this 12 divided by 2 times 4. And a lot of people that use that, please excuse my dear Aunt Sally, think multiply first. And they do 2 times 4, but yet these are equal. It's kind of like the multiply is the green light you go, but the divide is the red light. So first off, I can't, it's a red light. I'm going to divide. What's 12 divided by 2 is 6. And 6 times 4 is 24. However, if I had done this wrong and done 2 times 4 first, it would have been 8. And 12 divided by 8 would have been 1.5, and I would have got the wrong answer. You have to do things in the order in which it is intended. The next one is what I call the yield sign. Do you stop or do you go at a yield sign? And the answer is it depends if you see a car coming. If you see a car coming, you have to stop, and if not, you just go. That's like add or subtract. If there's no car coming, you can just go ahead and go through it. But if there is, you got to stop. That'd be like the subtract. So let's look at this problem. Even though we think of my dear Aunt Sally, a lot of people want to add the 3 and 4 first. And if you did, the answer would be wrong because 3 plus 4 is 7 and 8 minus 7 is 1. But because the subtraction is written first, I do it first. It's 8 minus 3, which is 5, and 5 plus 4 is 9. So that's how you do the rules of the road. So let's kind of think about this. Failure to follow the rules has catastrophic results. If you don't follow the rules of the road, you have a wreck. You see the little fire hydrant here, doesn't want the dog by him. We know why. So, and here's why I like about this here. This stoplight is like the multiply or divide, and the yield sign is like the add or subtract. Multiply or divide, add or subtract. It's not like this, you heard of the PEMDAS, or please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. I like to write it this way, then please excuse, and my dear, they're equal, and so is the Aunt Sally, because it could be DM or it could be SA, depending on what's written first. But you always do multiply and divide before add subtracts, unless you see a parentheses. All right? So, and you're probably familiar with that thing, like the please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. And notice I have these color coordinated parentheses, excuse color, and then my dear are red, and Aunt Sally and them are in the blue. All right? So